Ontario as provincial police there reveal the results of what's being called Project Bay, a years-long investigation into illegal drug trafficking.
The results are staggering. Investigators seized nearly 1.7 metric tons of drugs along with 17 firearms. This represents one of the largest drug seizures by weight in Ontario. More importantly, these drugs will never reach our communities. Every kilogram seized and every weapon removed from circulation represents harm prevented, lives protected, and fewer opportunities for criminal networks to profit.
The investigation led to a record-setting seizure of $139 million worth of drugs, including cocaine, meth, and opium, along with several firearms. Project Bay began in January of last year when the Windsor Police Service launched an investigation into drug trafficking. Joining me now, Detective Superintendent Andy Bradford of the Ontario Provincial Police's Organized Crime Enforcement Bureau. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, talk to me about how this investigation started. What tipped off police in the first place?
This was a long-term 18-month investigation. It was intelligence-led. It was started by the Windsor Police in January 2025. The Canada Border Services Agency, the OPP, the Toronto Police Service, and the Peel Regional Police later joined as partners. It was led by our Joint Force Border Drug Interdiction Task Force. We were also assisted in the United States by Homeland Security Investigations and the Drug Enforcement Administration.
And so Windsor Police discovered what to begin with? What was the tip?
It wasn't necessarily a tip. It was they started a local drug trafficking investigation, and from that it spanned to a greater network in the GTA. And they later discovered some cross-border trafficking components, at which point the other partners joined the investigation.
In the press conference earlier today, it was mentioned that the people accused of carrying this out took part in what you called a broker-style transportation model. What does that mean?
What it means is, this was a very organized group. Some of the accused had very specific roles. In terms of the broker style, some of the accused were responsible and put in touch what I would term large-scale traffickers out of the country. They connected them with large-scale purchasers in Canada. And other accused parties helped facilitate the coordination of the logistics when it came to the cross-border importation.
And when you talk about people outside the country, are we talking about accused or people involved in this in Canada and the U.S., or we're talking elsewhere more broadly?
Canada and the U.S.
And among the firearms that were seized was an anti-tank rifle. Your officers remarked how rare this is. What plausibly would they be using something like this for, and unless they're engaging in warfare?
That's the disturbing part. Is the weapon is a 50 caliber anti-tank rifle. There is no legitimate civilian application for this firearm. It is a military ordinance, and the fact that it was in the hands of those associated to an organized drug trafficking network is a real concern to public safety.
And so when they're running drugs and weapons across the border or within Ontario, it was mentioned that they're using legitimate supply chains. So what does that mean? Does that mean they're hiding drugs and guns inside a shipment of lettuce, inside manufactured goods that were headed to a legitimate supplier? How did they do it?
Yeah, it was in this case, a large volume of the controlled substances were seized from commercial transport trucks concealed in legitimate loads. In a couple cases, it was produce and it was some other goods as well.
And were the truckers aware?
Yes, we're alleging that the truckers that physically imported the controlled substances were fully aware of the conspiracy.
There's 2 people still at large. Number of arrests have already taken place. How confident are you that you'll find those 2 other individuals?
Well, very confident, and we will seek them out relentlessly until they're in custody, and we're not releasing their names at this point, but they know who they are, and we certainly encourage them to contact their legal counsel and turn themselves in.
Organized crime, however, is a vast web. How confident are you that you've put a dent into this organized crime organization and its operations?
Yeah, we're confident we put a dent into it, but the reality is that organized crime is sophisticated and they identify gaps and vulnerabilities. And when one criminal element like this is removed, often another takes its place. And that's why investigations like Project Bay are so important and critical, is to disrupt these criminal networks and provide a deterrence to those engaged in similar drug trafficking activity.
Lastly, if I may, you've looked at organized crime units and drug busts for many years in your career. Was there anything in this specific investigation that stood out to you?
I think what stands out to me is just the sheer volume of controlled substances. To give it some context, the amount of drugs seized in this investigation surpassed the OPP's total seizure for cocaine and methamphetamine, all for 2025. And it seems to be the trend that the sheer volume of drugs being imported in this country and being seized by police right across the country is staggering.
Where were those drugs destined for?
Consumption in the Ontario market for the GTA and southwestern Ontario is what our investigation has shown.
Well, that's equally worrying at that. Detective Superintendent Andy Bradford of the OPP's Organized Crime Enforcement Bureau, thank you for making time for us today.